Russell Brand just appeared in court. Again. And he was granted bail. Again. The comedian and actor is now facing even more sexual assault charges. And this case just keeps getting worse. We're talking allegations from multiple women spanning decades, rape charges, and a legal situation that's spiraling completely out of control. If you've been following this story since it broke in 2023, you know it's been messy. But if you're just hearing about this now, buckle up, because today we're breaking down everything: the original allegations, the new charges, Brand's response, and whether this guy's ever going to face real consequences. Let's get into it. So here's what just happened. On January 20th, 2026, Russell Brand appeared in Westminster Magistrates Court in London via video link from the United States. Yeah, he wasn't even physically there. He dialed in from Florida, where he currently lives. The hearing lasted all of 6 minutes. Brand only spoke to confirm his name and date of birth. That's it. He didn't enter a plea. He didn't say anything else. Just the basics. And then the judge granted him conditional bail. Now, these aren't his first charges. These are additional charges. Brand is now facing 1 count of rape and 1 count of sexual assault involving 2 women in London back in 2009. The charges were filed in December 2025 by the Crown Prosecution Service. And here's the thing that makes this even more serious. These new charges are separate from the 5 other charges he's already facing from incidents that allegedly happened between 1999 and 2005. So we're not talking about 1 or 2 accusations here. We're talking about a pattern that spans over a decade and involves at least 6 different women. Brand has a plea hearing scheduled for February 17th at Southwark Crown Court. That's when he'll officially enter his plea for these new charges. For his older charges from April 2025, he already pleaded not guilty back in May, and his trial for those is set for June 2026. So to recap, Brand is currently facing 7 total charges of rape and sexual assault. He's out on bail, and he's maintaining his innocence. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to September 2023. That's when this entire thing exploded into the public. Channel 4 in the UK aired a documentary called Russell Brand in Plain Sight as part of their Dispatches investigative series. This was a joint investigation with the Sunday Times and the Times of London, and what they uncovered was damning. 4 women came forward with allegations of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse against Brand. The incidents they described happened between 2006 and 2013, when Brand was at the height of his fame. One woman said she was just 16 years old in 2006, when she started a relationship with 30-year-old Brand. She described him as emotionally and sexually abusive over the course of 3 months. Keep in mind, the age of consent in the UK is 16, so technically legal, but the power dynamic there is still incredibly disturbing. Another woman alleged that Brand attacked her at his home in Los Angeles in 2012. A third woman claimed she was sexually assaulted by him, also in LA in 2013. And a fourth woman said Brand exposed himself to her when he was working at Channel 4 in the early 2000s. The documentary also brought up a book written by Brand's ex-girlfriend Jordan Martin in 2014, where she detailed alleged physical and sexual assault during their relationship in 2007. But here's what made the documentary especially damaging. They had video evidence of Brand basically bragging about some of this behavior. They showed clips from his stand-up shows, his TV appearances, his radio programs, where he would talk openly about his sexual encounters in ways that, looking back now, were pretty much admissions. There's even this creepy interview with Jimmy Savile, the notorious BBC presenter, who was posthumously exposed as a serial predator. In the clip, Brand and Savile are joking about bringing women to meet each other, and it's just gross. The documentary painted a picture of a man who used his fame and power to prey on women, and who got away with it for years because people either didn't believe the victims or didn't care. Now, Russell Brand did not take this lying down. The day before the documentary aired, he posted a video on social media, getting ahead of the story. In the video, he denied everything. He said the allegations were extremely egregious and aggressive attacks that he absolutely refutes. He claimed this was all part of a conspiracy by big tech and legacy media to silence him because he's become a prominent voice against mainstream narratives.
When I was young and single, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist.
And this is where things get interesting, because by 2023, Brand had completely reinvented himself. He wasn't the edgy comedian from the 2000s anymore. He'd become this wellness guru, conspiracy theorist, and right-wing adjacent influencer with millions of followers on YouTube and Rumble. He talks about government corruption, COVID conspiracies, vaccines, globalism, all that stuff. And he's built a massive audience of people who see him as this truth teller fighting against the establishment. So when the allegations came out, Brand immediately framed it as, they're trying to cancel me because I'm exposing the truth. His followers ate it up. They defended him. They said it was a hit job. They called the women liars. In April 2025, when Brand was formally charged with his first 5 counts, he posted another video. This time, he leaned even harder into the victim narrative. He said the law has become a weapon used against people who won't tolerate corruption. He admitted he was a fool before he found religion, saying he was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile, but insisted, what I never was a rapist. He looked directly into the camera and said, I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. It's a bold strategy. Admit to being a terrible person in the past, claim you've changed through religion and personal growth, and then deny the worst allegations while suggesting they're politically motivated. So what happened after the allegations came out? Immediately, Brand started losing everything. His talent agency, Tavistock Wood, dropped him. They released a statement saying Brand had categorically and vehemently denied an allegation made to them in 2020, but they now believe they were horribly misled by him. YouTube suspended his ability to make money from his channel. He had millions of subscribers, and that was a major source of income. Gone. His UK publisher, Bluebird, paused all future book releases related to him. His comedy tour got cancelled. All the remaining dates were postponed indefinitely. The BBC issued an apology to staff members who felt unable to complain about Brand's conduct during his time at the network from 2006 to 2008. They acknowledged that presenters have been able to abuse their positions in the past. Channel 4 launched an internal investigation into whether anyone at the network knew about Brand's behavior when he was working there. They found that in 2009, a Channel 4 staff member made an allegation about Brand's conduct, but it was never passed up the management chain or properly investigated. Channel 4 apologized for that failure. So yeah, the consequences were real, at least professionally, but personally, Brand moved to Florida. He's still posting videos online. He's still building his audience on alternative platforms, and he's clearly preparing to fight these charges in court. Here's what makes this case so important. Russell Brand is not the first powerful man to be accused of sexual assault, and he won't be the last. But what's interesting about his case is how he's weaponized conspiracy theories and political polarization to defend himself. He's turned sexual assault allegations into a culture war issue. His supporters genuinely believe this is all a setup. They think the media is lying. They think the women are lying. They think this is about silencing a man who dares to speak truth to power. And that's dangerous, because it creates a situation where no amount of evidence will convince his followers. The more evidence that comes out, the more they believe it's a conspiracy. We've seen this playbook before. Trump used it. Andrew Tate used it. Now Brand is using it. Paint yourself as a martyr, claim you're being persecuted for your beliefs, and your followers will defend you no matter what. The question is, will it work in a courtroom? Because juries don't care about your YouTube following. They care about evidence. And according to the Crown Prosecution Service, they have enough evidence to charge Brand with 7 counts of sexual assault and rape. That's not a small thing. Prosecutors don't bring charges like this unless they believe they can win. So, where does this leave us? Russell Brand is out on bail. He's facing 7 charges. His trial is set for June 2026. And in the meantime, he's going to keep posting videos, keep claiming he's innocent, and keep rallying his supporters. But here's the reality. Multiple women have come forward. A major investigation was conducted. Charges have been filed. This isn't going away. Whether Brand ends up convicted or acquitted, this case has already exposed a lot about how powerful men operate, how they use their platforms to manipulate public opinion, and how hard it still is for victims to be believed. What do you think? Is Brand guilty, or is this really all a setup? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives like this, make sure you're subscribed. I'll catch you in the next one.